Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silence for our ex-mayor, Roger Peckham. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Carter? Here. Trustee Grant?
Here.
Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd? Here. Trustee Zupan?
Here.
Item number 4, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the Committee of the Whole, meeting April 3rd, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Grant, second by Trustee Brewer. Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Carter?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd? Yes. Trustee Zupan?
No.
Motion is carried. I'll approve the, I'll entertain a motion for the regular board meeting minutes for April 10th.
So moved. No, April 24th.
No, April 10th.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Brewer, second by Trustee Todd. Any questions?
I have a question. On this particular set of minutes, under new business, on G, you have where Trustee Brewer said yes and then no. So she's on there twice.
It will be corrected.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Comments?
Yes.
Under reports of departments, Director Rao was showing as present and giving a report. He, in fact, was not present that night. Yeah. Under reports of departments with Director Wizawati in Economic Development, there's a comment there, and I apologize. I was just reviewing these today, Clerk Marva. It's not D&J Landscape's term of contract, it's the RFP that was being discussed, where we were talking about 5 months, not 7 months versus weeks there. And then the commentary that is underneath that, those 2 bullet points, I believe that actually, those 2 bullet points, I believe that actually belongs back with the village engineer's conversation around the OSLOD grant versus the economic development conversation. Because what we talked about that night from an economic development perspective was putting the RFP out for the grant to do the grass cutting at the $75,000 to take care of the grass cutting and the home demolition and those related items.
Is that all that you have?
Further under Parks and Recs and Youth Services, there's a change I'd request there. You have it listed saying it's open from 3 to 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It should be one or the other. And I believe that's it.
Sometimes what happens is when we're in discussions and comments, it's likely that sometimes we're talking on one thing and then a trustee will speak on another item that's not related to the business at hand. Most times I attempt to put it in the correct place. However, I will go back and listen to the tape again and see if it is in fact out of order or if it is actually how we communicated that evening. But all of the recommended corrections will be made. And I thank you for it.
I'll give you this actually, so you have.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes. Would you like, anyone like to be, well, I'll ask the ones that asked to have the minutes moved. So I need to have you to either change it to corrections with the necessary corrections, or rescind it and have someone else to make a motion. Would you like to?
Who made the first motion?
First, trustee Brewer.
I rescind the motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
Would you like to rescind?
And I'll rescind.
Okay. So the motion is that they accept the minutes for April 10th with the necessary corrections. Any other questions?
May we have a copy once you make the correction? Sure.
Madam Clerk?
Trustee Carter? Yes. Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular board meetings for April 28, 2018. I'm sorry, April 24th, 2018. Thanks for the correction.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Todd. Any questions?
Yes, sorry. Clark, I apologize. I found my handwritten notes from the script that we had because this was student government night. So on page 1, when we, on the script, or actually on your minutes if you want to, yeah, page 1 on your minutes, and again, I'll give you the copy of this, where we were appointing and setting aside regular procedures. The second was not Tate's, it was Grant. And then when we got to new business, the amount of accounts payable is not what's on the minutes. It's a different amount because we had an amendment that night. The amount should be $545,353.69. And then lastly, under the adjournment, you had a couple of question marks listed there under the adjournment.
Yes.
The question marks don't need to be there. They were right as it was. It was trustee Romero who seconded the motion, and 8:18 was the time.
I was unsure, because I thought maybe you put that a little late.
Yeah.
May I make a suggestion, since you're gonna make some few changes? I noticed in here that he said, I guess the first paragraph where it says trustee Zupan moved and trustee Tate second, to swear in the students. Do we want to reference what school they're from, or want to say these Sauk students, or, I mean, just the suggestion is.
They're all from Rickover.
I know they're from Rickover. I'm saying, shouldn't we put that in the notes? You know, I mean, just a suggestion. Yeah, since you're gonna change, we could just add that phrase.
Any other questions? As before, since there's necessary corrections, the ones that made the motion and seconded, I would ask that they rescind that. Who made the motion?
Brewer?
Brewer?
Todd?
Oh, I made a, well, I'll make a motion to
No,
rescind. No?
No, I just want to know if you will rescind. You don't have to make a motion to rescind.
Okay. Rescind the, I don't know.
That you will rescind your original motion.
I understand that. I'm sort of debating on whether I want to do
Oh.
that or not. I rescind the regular motion
You
to
rescind.
what, you know.
No, I'm saying you rescind your motion.
Yes.
You 100%. Okay, now take a motion to approve the minutes with the necessary correction. I'll entertain a motion for that.
So,
second.
It's moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Grant. To motion to receive the minutes.
Yes.
Tate? Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Carter?
Motion is carried. I'll entertain a motion to accept the Committee of the Whole minute meetings for May 1st, 2018.
I'm going to make a motion with a change and save it this time, okay? I make a motion that we approve the minutes for the committee meeting from May 1st with actually two changes. At the end of public comment, Jackie Glaze had suggested 2 meetings instead of 4. She actually also talked about replacing Trustee Jones and discussing the suspension of Sherry Jasinski. If you could please make that change. And then lastly, you have question marks for the adjournment time. It was 8:37 p.m. So that's my motion.
There's a second for that.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Zupan, second by Trustee Brewer, that the wording that you just said as far as the 2 items that were not in be put in. We have that. Okay. Any other questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Carter?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, public comments. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may have comment on one matter pertaining, on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed 1 opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate, counter replies, or rebuttals. When you come up, please state your name.
Linda Washington. First of all, I want to say, at different times, residents recognize different village employees for outstanding job that they've done. Recognize it's not working. Okay, sorry, my camera. Is it on? Testing. I'm used to a mic. Linda Washington. First of all, I want to say there are different times when residents will come up and will give accolades and kudos to different employees that they feel have done an outstanding job for whatever reason. And tonight I do want to say that in regard to an employee who is Mohan. Mohan, I recognize you for the great and outstanding job that you've done along with other hundreds of residents. And I know that you're embarrassed that I'm saying it, but we want to let you know that we do recognize all that you have done and are doing, and your job is greatly appreciated, and you are a valued employee. Second of all, I want to say that today I was called to the police department and I received a letter from the chief in regard to a denial of the Dr. Linda Washington having 2 tag days for the back to school book bag giveaway because we don't have our 501c3, and it is filed for and pending. And I just want to say I feel that it's a travesty to the students of District 168 and the students that live in Sauk Village that you all are denying us from having 2 tag days to raise funds and to raise money so that we can have money to go to the store and to continue to purchase the items that we need to fulfill these long school supply lists that are given to parents. I want you to know that number 1, you're not going to stop us from having 500 book bags. Number 2, you're not going to stop us from having supplies in all 500. But I want you to know that in all 500 of those book bags, there will be a letter from me letting the residents know how hard you work to obstruct what we're trying to do. I feel that at the village level, you have not done anything for these children. I came before this board the last week of school and I reminded you that we have approximately 2,000 youth in this village. How many attend in 168 and how many go to school at Bloom? I was told there would be something in place for the youth to do this summer. There has been absolutely nothing in place for the youth to do. So my organization, because nothing was done last year for the youth, I was told by the school board that the parents were looking feverishly for those book bags and were told that they weren't available and that they was disappointed. So my organization on our own decided to try to do something this year, and you put this roadblock up to try to hinder us from doing it by giving us this frivolous letter talking about we can't tag those 2 days. I just sent out 50 copies to elected officials outside of Sauk Village, and they're all going to help to make this day possible. But I'm coming to you face to face to let you know that in all 500 of those book bags, I'm going to let these parents know you don't care nothing about their children.
Thank you for your comment. Who's next? Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah.
My name is Heidi Parker, and first I would like to talk about what Ms. Washington talked about. I cannot believe that you will not allow her to collect for the children. This is not going to hurt you, it's not going to hurt any of us, but it's going to hurt the children to be at the first day of school and not have any supplies. The other thing I'm surprised about is about Neighborhood Watch. You used to do Deer Creek Neighborhood Watch, you were the chair. You're talking about a new plan to bring the community together. I don't see this would really help the community to have pluck captains, work with the neighbors. So I think you really should reconsider that. What I really came up here to talk about was the CN Railroad Fund, the grant. Payments were made from that grant in 2017 in the amount of roughly $54,000. A total of 13 line items on accounts payable started 1 week after you took office and ended 4 months later in September 2017. Through a FOIA, supporting documents were requested. The FOIA clerk, Ms. Campbell-Pruitt, provided 2 invoices and 2 checks which cover a total of 6 line items, leaving the remaining entries without documentation to pay or proof of payment. When asked to provide the remaining documents, Ms. Campbell-Pruitt stated, "You have the records on file." Most line items have one minute. Most items have this in-house statement on plain paper attached, which states, "Work completed, inspected, and approved." It's signed by someone named A, which I assume is Alicia Strauder. My questions are, how could payment for 13 of these projects be approved without an invoice? 11 of these 13 projects. Excuse me. Why are there no supporting checks for 8 of the projects? Who is RCI Realty, and how are they involved in installing fences and replacing windows? Am I correct that this grant was to cover projects on the north side of Peterson Avenue backing up to the CN Railroad? That's my comment.
I don't, intelligently, I cannot answer those questions. I just saw this, so I have to research it. I have to get back with you because you handed this and you asked me to explain to you about some checks that were written, or as I can see here, no invoice, no check. So for you to give me this now, for you to ask me to answer or give you an answer to this intelligently right now, I cannot. but I will find out and I'll have that answer for
You
you.
can also do it to the Attorney General, because it has been sent on to them. Thank you.
You can answer already? Okay, well.
Ms. Parker? Ms. Parker? The reason why you saw a couple of checks is because those were voided checks. So they made a copy of the voided check. But once a check has been made out to the particular company, we no longer have the check to make a copy of, and we do not make copies of every check that is sent out or mailed out for whatever reason. Say that again?
Have the checks cleared for the account?
Yes.
You said there were no further records on the file.
Yes, ma'am.
Could I hand out something, please?
Pardon me?
I'd like to hand out to the board before you.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. This is so you can see what I've been referring to for the past, I don't know how many weeks. Today, I received an email regarding this information, and it came from Mary Klopp. Is she now the FOIA clerk? And why would she be involved in a FOIA if she's had no FOIA training? She forwarded this information to Dr. Strouder. Is Dr. Strouder a FOIA clerk? I'd like to know who is our FOIA clerk, because there will be several other FOIAs put in. And as you can see on that paper, it doesn't match the timesheet. The timesheet calls for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever the case was during that period of time. If you look at what Dr. Strouder said, there were 3 personal days and 1 B day. That does not reflect on that timesheet. So since you signed that timesheet, and the individual signed that timesheet, somehow or another they don't match. I wonder how that could be. That's on that relation. Another question that I have is about a meeting that I attended for the Police and Fire Pension Board. It was brought up that the Dr. Sutphin, or Mrs. Sutphin, is not bonded. I would like to know if that is something she does not have to be bonded, or she should be bonded. If she should be, how come she's not bonded at this point in time? Thank you.
In your answer to the FOIA clerk, right now, we don't have one. Right now, we're gathering information. It's coming through me. I am answering as much as I can once I gather information. Do I have formal training? No, I do not. But we're trying to do the best we can because we don't have a FOIA clerk. But we will be getting someone trained soon. As far as bonded, the individual you're talking about is indemnified. We have a $1 million policy. We've just found out, and I can get that paperwork to you too, that we have a $1 million policy from our insurance company that indemnifies a person that's handling our money.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Mary Wilkerson, resident. I'd just like to say, first of all, that the neighborhood picnic that you held last week?
Friday.
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 My days run together. was excellent. It was a very nice occasion. We met a lot of neighbors that we would not have met, and so I appreciate the village and the trustees for pulling that off. You guys did a fantastic job. Thank you. Also, I'd like to say, during the picnic, I heard one very distinguished person say that Clerk Marver does a magnificent job e-blasting. Two things. First of all, great job. Secondly, put me on the e-blast so I can get the information. And then I had on my list to talk about the book bag, the back to school program as well. I'm glad that Linda's shared with the audience today that there has been some obstruction to them having this. My question to the village is, had there been any talk about actually having a book bag distribution for the children? Because the one time I did participate, it was a joyous event. The children were very happy to receive them. The parents were happy for the help. And so I'd like to know if there's anything that the village can do if Linda Washington's 501c3, pending 501c3 has been stopped. Can we do something as a village and bring this forward for the students? And again, I was going to say that before I even heard all of this tonight about the book bags being stopped. And then the last thing is we have a house on my cul-de-sac. The grass has not been cut in quite a while, and I'd like to find out where we are with the cuttings, where we, if we're on the west side of Sauk Village, the east side, north side, or the south side. I live on the southwest side, and I'd like to find out if, in fact, east of 394, that grass will be cut soon, because it's really outrageous by now. Thank you.
Okay, take the last one first. The grass cuttings, if you can give me that address, because this is done by private through a grant that we had. So right now, the village is not doing that cutting. We're cutting that. We have a grant that we have that we're, have a private contractor that does that. So if I can get, I was trying to get, I was out this weekend looking at the whole village really and writing things down. So you can get that address to me. It may be already on the list and they hadn't gotten to it yet because I don't know their pattern. But I will definitely, after the meeting, if you're still here, get the address and make sure that makes the list. Could you please start with your phone? Thank you. The book bag distribution, the 501c3 is something that this is a law. I mean, I have the law right here that you have to be, if you're going to solicit money inside of a municipality, you need to be a charitable organization, which means you need to be the 501c3. So the chief informed me of that and wrote the person a letter in regards to that. If you, is the village doing anything this year for book bags? No, we are not. Are we doing anything for back to school supplies this year? No, we're not. Hopefully next year we get enough volunteers to get involved. We can get that started early. So by the time it gets to that point, we have everything in place. So, but right now, as far as that's concerned, no, we don't have any plans for a book bag distribution. And as far as the Community Fest, thank you very much for coming out. Thank you very much for your husband to give us a hand and help make it a success. And I will be on my report speaking about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Escovedo. I'm here again to talk about Joe Wisselbody and his social media and why he has not been terminated and why you terminated Sherry when she was just helping a trustee. That doesn't make any sense. And to your 4 trustees who always agree with you, whatever you say, you have to remember that 2 of you were voted in. I'm guessing you're not planning to run again. And for the 2 of you that were not voted in, I'm guessing that you don't want to be voted in because you're not looking out for the residents, which is what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not. Just so you know. Secondly, the treasurer, when I was treasurer, you said you had to have me bonded. So now what is the difference? Why doesn't she have to be bonded? You said that in the police pension board meeting. So now how are you saying that she doesn't have to be bonded when you said I had to be bonded and you were going to bond me and you were looking into it with the police chief? Can you explain that? And again, why?
Is that it?
That's it.
In regards to bonded, I just stated a few minutes ago that the treasurer is indemnified.
That's not what you told me when I was the treasurer.
I'm not gonna go back and forth.
I'm not going back and forth. I'm just saying, as when I was a treasurer, you told me I had to be bonded, but now you're stating something differently. I want to know why.
The word bonded is words, like I stated before. It was that the position had to be indemnified. I needed to get information from you to make sure, as I got information from Ms. Sutherland in regards to being indemnified by our insurance company. You may call it bonded, the insurance company calls it indemnified. So that's what that is, and we have a $1 million policy on any individual that's dealing with the money in the
Okay. And the other one?
as far as personnel, as I stated before, I do not.
I know that's a cop-out. You're not going to talk about personnel out.
Thank you very much.
But you're not talking about an executive session,
Thank you
Dee.
very much.
You're welcome very much.
James Harvey, Sauk Village. I'm looking at the accounts payable. Very next page. Maybe you can explain this.
Yeah, speak
There's
up,
400.
James. Yeah, speak
Oh.
up, I can't hear you.
There's a $459.37. I guess it's the bill for Comcast.
You said 457,000?
$459.37. Then there's another one for the Adobe for $191.12. And then this, I guess I can understand this, the equipment for the street lights. But them two is the one that I'm having trouble with. What is that 459.37 for and 191.12 for?
It's on the,
That's pretty much it.
it's on the credit card payment.
And I hope you're not going to tell me that 459.37 is for the senior building. If that's the case, y'all need to find another copy.
What page were you on, sir?
It's on the credit card payment.
Very next, what
Page.
page?
Second page. Top left there, it says Village of Sauk Village, credit
Oh,
card.
telephone, okay. Must have been a payment that Mohan used his credit card to pay. And what was the other one?
The 191.12 for the Adobe clerk's office.
That's a subscription payment
Oh, okay.
The software.
for software.
Oh, okay. All right.
Rachel Lubian. So I wanted to start off by saying I apologize for bringing up, crossing the line and bringing up religious things and things like that. So I'd like to apologize for that. But so on. I wanted to ask, I went to the pension board meeting. I had said that with all the liquor licenses that we have out, and those things that we have going out and the gamings, I had said that we should put it like it was before with the previous mayor about putting the money for those things into the police pension fund. Okay, that's funny. to replenish the $5 million that is owed. So that was one. The lawyer told me that he would put it on the agenda and have you guys vote on it. That's what your lawyer told me.
He's not our lawyer.
He told me he was the lawyer. Okay, anyway, and I still see that Joe is here. I missed everybody else's public comments. I don't know if it was mentioned, but I see he's still here, and he has 0 education that it's asked for. He has nothing that it needs. You do. You have your bachelor's degree. You have all these things.
Rachel.
Yes.
Excuse me. We're
Yes.
not going to sit here and character assassinate a human being. We're not going to do that.
Oh, you guys did it to me though when I ran for school board, right?
Pardon? No, I said
My education came up when I was running. No.
we're not going to sit here and character assassinate. Now, if you have a question that's something pertaining, like you stated before, as
Is
far
there-
as the pension, have no problem. I'll answer those questions. But as was stated, you weren't here. I stated before, I do not and will not talk about personnel in public.
Okay. So then I would like to know how we are going to replenish the police pension fund then, and if we can use those licenses, money for the liquor licenses and the commission that you guys receive from the gaming.
Is that it?
Sure.
First of all, last year, when I came into office, I asked, and we were able to contribute. As you said, you were sitting here at the meeting the other day from the pension plan. I'm sure they told you that.
$50,000.
I'm sure they told you that we contributed $50,000 last year from the budget for the pension, the first time they can remember. This year in the budget, there's another $50,000 to go into the pension plan. Really $100,000 because 50 for the fire and 50 for the police. This is the first time that I ever known anything like that to happen. However, if you would like for me to, instead of doing that, if you're going to make a suggestion that we use the liquor license revenue to fund the pension, I'm sure the board would love to hear that, because now you're taking away maybe $48,000. Or probably 96, because it's 48 times 2. So the money that comes in from the liquor is nowhere near, the liquor license is nowhere near what we put into the budget for this year of $50,000 per. Thank you.
Kathy Betcher, I just have one question. Last meeting, Bernice asked to find out what the answers were to the operational transfers from Ms. Stuffin. And she was told that she got an email. I would like to know what the answer is to that question. She was supposed to let us know, and we would like to know what is the outcome of your investigation about the operational transfers. That's my
Is that
question.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure that I can get you something in writing. I'm not going to go through it right now, but it was explained, and I'm sure there's some type of paperwork that was involved in that explanation, and I'll get it to you myself. Item number 6, reports. Mine may be a little lengthy today, but need to go over a lot of different things. First of all, I want to pass out to the board the proclamation. And I'm going to read the proclamation. Christy Peckham Diggs received a copy at the funeral. But it's a proclamation honoring the life of Roger, former Mayor Roger Gale Peckham. And it states as follows. Whereas it is fitting that a mayor should recognize the lifetime achievements of those citizens who, during those years of life given by God, performed extraordinary dedication to their community and unprecedented devotion for the same. Whereas Roger G. Peckham is one such outstanding person who has served the people of the village of Sauk Village with alacrity and accuracy as the mayor of Sauk Village for 12 outstanding years. Whereas Roger exemplified the spirit and dedication that is characteristic of a great community leader. And whereas Roger and his beloved wife, Christy, were blessed in their marriage with 2 sons, Matthew and Michael. And Sauk Village is where they made their home. And whereas Roger was elected to the school board of the Community Consolidated School District 168 in 1987 to 1996, serving as president for 4 years. Whereas Roger's 22-year career with the village of Sauk Village began in November 1987, where he accepted appointment as the village treasurer, serving until 1996. And whereas Roger was accepted an appointment to serve as village trustee in 1996. And whereas Roger's first term as mayor of Sauk Village began in 1997, where he served 3 consecutive terms, 12 years, and served with distinction in that critical position. And whereas along with many other accomplishments and achievements in his lifetime, Sauk Village witnessed the successful birth of the Logistics Center, the initial rail spur expansion of the Enterprise Zone, the new Sauk Village Municipal Center, and the Veterans Memorial are all attributed to his leadership of 12 years as mayor. In addition, Sauk Village's residents and commercial growth began again after a long hiatus with the expansion of the Carolina subdivision, Deer Creek, Lincoln Meadows, Weatherstone, and Plum Creek. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor, on behalf of the people of the village of Sauk Village, does hereby recognize and extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Roger G. Peckham on his passing July 16, 2018. With heartfelt gratitude, we honor his lifetime achievements in making Sauk Village a community of pride and progress for future generations. Be it further proclaimed by the mayor that all village flags will be lowered to half-staff in honor of Roger Gale Peckham through the day of his funeral, and all residents I ask to join me in a prayerful and thoughtful reflection in honor of Sauk Village's 5th mayor. Be it further proclaimed that an appropriate copy of this proclamation be prepared for presentation with its final clause omitted for such copy. Proclaimed the 16th of July 2018 by the mayor of Sauk Village and the counties of Cook and Will. As I stated, his wife has a copy of this. I presented it to her at the funeral. Second item that I have, as you know, I have not publicized it a lot, but it's been out there. I'm sure people have heard that we've been trying to sell a parcel of land on the west-north side of 394 and Sauk Trail. Friday, we were able to close, and I'm pleased to announce to the board, to the residents, that the village has officially closed on a sale of 32.9 acres of land located in the northwest corner of Sauk Trail and 394. I'm presenting a check to the village in the amount of $1,343,845 tonight. The new project that we have represents the largest commercial development in the Sauk Village since the building of Walgreens in 1998. The new owners plan to invest $10 million for the development, which will break ground soon. The developer will provide further details regarding their plans in the near future. I want to personally thank those trustees who supported our vision for this development. Many thanks goes to the zoning board for working to approve the tax amendment last year. And I'd also like to thank Robinson Engineering and their staff for their assistance. I want to thank the Cook County Highway Department and their staff for working very closely with us to make this happen. And finally, a huge thanks to our Economic Development Director, Mr. Joseph Wizawati, for all the hard work and for taking the necessary steps to ensure that the sale was finalized. Sauk Village, this administration will continue to focus on energies, on ideas and visions as laid out in our strategic plan for progress. Again, thank you very much for all those that were involved in this, and more to come. I do have the check here. It's for $1,343,873.92. Thank you. The next item I have is dealing with the Sauk Village Comprehensive Plan that we have a grant for, and we've had 3 workshops. What I'm asking tonight and what they talked about, we had a meeting last night. All the meetings are open. There were some residents here, but all the meetings are open to the public. But what they're asking for, and I have some flyers here, and I'll make sure that they'll get on the table and we get them out in the, they're already on the table? Okay. And they'll get out Wednesday, mark that date, September 12th, here at the village at 7 o'clock. They want the village residents to take a survey. They want to hear from the village residents in this comprehensive plan that we're putting together. As was stated earlier, this is the first one since 1999, so we need as much input as we possibly can get. And as many people that would like to get involved in it, they can. We're not asking you to do work other than just to give us your opinions, give us your ideas, give us with your visions of what you would like to see. As I stated before, we had 3 meetings so far, and we have more scheduled. So the dates will be forthcoming, but if you can possibly make it September 12th. The last thing I have while I pass out these disbursements and how the money was, not the money, I'm sorry, for the trustees, what they charged for the sale. Friday was a wet day. They might have, you got one more down there? Friday was a wet day, but that being said, all those that came out, I really appreciate those that came out to participate in the first Community Fest. It wasn't as big as I wanted it to be, but it was well attended and the food was great. And everyone ate until they couldn't eat anymore, but like I stated before, it was raining, but it didn't seem to stop and put a damper on anything. People came out and enjoyed themselves. This is something that we're going to continue. Next year it'll be a little bit bigger. Hopefully we can make it as large as we possibly can. This was done through donations of different people. No taxpayer money, I reiterate, no taxpayer money was used to make this event happen. Hopefully next year we maybe get a little bit more to maybe do some fireworks. So, but right now, I appreciate all those that came out. I also like to thank all the volunteers that came out to help. Like anything else, we can't put anything else, or we can't put anything on without the help of the community. We just don't have that capability to do that, and no community has to have volunteers to help make things happen. So I'd like to thank everyone that came out and participated in that, and anyone that had any hand in helping and making that happen. So, That being said, I think that's all that I have. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just a few updates to provide this evening. The very first one, I had Weller yesterday. He informed me and gave an update about the BRIC program and stated that they were scheduled to be in either yesterday or today. He was waiting until Wednesday, though, to be certain, but he also assured me, and I'm assuring you, that next week, the actual layment of the bricks will become a priority of Public Works, and we thank you for your patience and your impatience, but we've weathered the storm, and the bricks will be laid. The next thing I would like to share with everyone is our presence on Facebook, on the e-news, and they provide statistics on a regular basis. And just for 1 week, from July 16th to the 22nd, our reach was toward 7,868 individuals. That does not mean that that's how many friends we have on that page. What happens is it's calculated by the number of friends who respond, and then when they share, then it also takes into consideration those people that share also or make comment. And I know that unfortunately a lot of that reach was because of the young lady that's gone missing, and then also some of the wonderful information that we are presenting. A number of people are really appreciating getting that information, knowing what's going on in the village. So we're happy to use that mechanism. Another mechanism that, but we do have 1,004 actual friends on that page, and I invite any and everyone else to please sign up to the Facebook page so that we can use that as another avenue for communicating. We know that communication is a little sticky here in the village, so we have to do however we can to get the word out. So we really need you to go on and sign. And when you have information, share that information with me so that it can be shared with the community. So I'm going to ask all of you that have your own Facebook pages with your departments that when you share something, if you could change the privacy setting so that it can be shared to the Facebook e-news page as well. Another thing, the e-news that we have, the email that goes out also, that has grown considerably as well. So, and it still has room for growth because we're not at 1,000 at this point, even for that. And it would be nice for that everyone that has an email will be able to sign up so that they can receive those e-blasts so that you know what's going on. I promise you, I only send out information when it is necessary. I mean, as it turned out though, I sent some yesterday and then sent some more today, but that's not an everyday practice, usually no more than twice a week. But please sign up for that as well. Next thing that I want to share with you is that we are in the process, believe it or not, of updating all of our addresses for the 2020 census. That information has to be out by the end, well, really by mid-month next month. So if anybody would like to assist me with the census component, please feel free to let me know. Thank you. One other thing, on the resource table, hopefully each one of you are remembering to check the resource table when you come in. It will be the one that's on your left as you're entering the rotunda. It's a wealth of resources there, and one that I want to draw your attention to is the one that says, so you're planning to run for office. It's an informational forum being scheduled, planned, and sponsored by the village for anyone interested in seeking to become a candidate for April 2019, whether you are a municipal officer, whether you're on the school board or the library board. It's informative, it's not political at all, but it is informative. It's going to let you know how to get on the ballot and how to stay on the ballot. It's going to give you timelines and dates so that you know exactly what's required of you so that you will be successful in your run. And I am asking that you RSVP to me by August 8th, because I would definitely want to make certain that all of the handouts and all the materials that we will have for you will be there and enough for everyone that's interested. Mr. Mayor, that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Village Engineer, Mr. Jim Zarnik.
Thank you, Mayor. As I reported at the last board meeting, we had a meeting with the mayor and the public works director to determine whether the village should be a party to the joint submittal to the Water Pollution Control Board later this month to apply for a time-limited water quality standard for chloride. The decision was made to not participate in the joint submittal at this time. However, Public Works will move forward on implementing the best management practices recommended in the action plan to reduce chloride concentration. Also, I have great news. Cook County has awarded the village with a $200,000 grant for roadway improvements. The village will utilize this to reconstruct 221st Street from Sauk Trail to Orion Avenue, as well as Paxton Avenue, Shirley Avenue, and 222nd Place. Design for this project will commence this winter with construction starting this spring. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions?
I do. Mr. Cernak, I'm reading your report, and I talked about these before, but just to let the residents know, you said the decision was made not to participate in the joint submittal at the time for this particular project. So who makes the decision?
It was the everybody in the room. We had a good discussion about it. We had an hour-long discussion about the details and the ramifications of participating and not participating, and at the end of the meeting we decided against participating in the joint submittal.
Who are decision makers?
Myself, Melanie Arnold from our company, who's pretty much spearheading this initiative for Sauk Village and our other clients, the mayor and the public works director.
Okay, and also, I guess I could ask Kevin that there's some best management practice. There's an action plan to reduce the chloride concentration in the water. There's a plan.
You want to wait till he gets to that?
No, I don't know if that's what I said. I don't know if I should go to him.
One was the answer to the question for the chloride. That was when Robinson, we actually sat down and we discussed it, and we talked to the people that was involved in that. Do you have a different question?
Well, I'm responding to his report, and he said there's an action plan to reduce the chloride.
There is okay. So then there is an action plan to reduce the chloride. If you want to expound on that, Mr. Well, I don't know if it's for the. I think the engineer probably could probably best. Okay.
There are a number of steps that the village can take to reduce chloride concentration, primarily reducing road salt usage, pre-wetting the road salt before it goes out, getting calibration equipment for the vehicles and so forth.
So can you send that to us? Give us a little short synopsis in writing, so I can add it onto your file. These steps that we're going to take. Can you give us something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Second of all, the question is that we're going to get a $200,000 grant for construction on 221st Street and Shirley. Now, is this the part of the block grant?
Yes,
Okay.
CDBG.
Okay, so we already have the award letter here.
There is an action plan that the county produces, and Sauk Village is listed within that plan.
So we don't have the award letter, saying we're gonna get 200,000.
The booklet was made public, and I've sent that to village staff as well as the mayor.
Say that again?
The booklet that entails the plan, the action plan that contains all the communities in which funding was granted, was made public, and I forwarded that on to Kevin, Mohan, the mayor, all the involved village staff.
So we actually don't have a award letter. You just forward them a booklet, and it's my understanding that you just said you forward them a booklet, but we don't have an award letter saying how much the project, how much we actually going to get. This is a combination of a lot of the suburbs together. Is that how that works?
Yes, it's a listing of all the communities and the grant funding that was distributed to all the communities, or will be distributed to the communities.
So we actually don't know how much we're going to get, right?
$200,000.
So it's actually in the booklet
Yes.
that we're going to get $200,000. That's all.
A question. Mr. Sarning, where do we stand with the Osland grant? I know we had the second bidder. How is that shaping out? I think we got, 6 weeks left before?
Yeah, that has gotten very complicated because the contractor who was on board to do that project has submitted a letter stating that they are no longer interested in the project. So there's going to be some litigation involved now.
I got one more question. This 200,000 is for the 221st Street, Paxton and Shirley, but there's a $200,000 from for the 223rd project too. They haven't responded to, right?
That's paid for.
No, that's a different funding source, different amounts.
I asked you, there's another project that we're expecting funds for 223rd, right? On the block grant. Okay, where is the funding coming from for the 223rd Street project?
MFT and federal funds, FAU, STP. Also invest in Cook.
Yes, I mean, so what about the consequences?
So in short, the contractor, per the contract terms, has 10 days to enter into an agreement to do the contract. They did not enter into an agreement within 10 days, and I'm laughing because it was a 3-month period where we were trying to have them sign the agreement, and they never did. So they have defaulted on their bid bond, which should now become the property of Sauk Village.
So we're covered.
I'm sorry?
So we should be covered.
We should be covered. I mean, the sad fact is that the project will not get constructed, and we will not get the funding from Osland.
Okay.
Also in that regard, we will have to probably get lawyers involved in it because it is a bond that we would have to try to get our money from. And that money that we get back, we'll probably have to pay back to the Osland because we didn't complete the project. So any money that was forwarded to us ahead of time, we would have to reimburse the state for any money that they fronted us because the project wasn't done. So it's going to be a litigation process. So it's going to cost, but it wasn't our fault. They decided that they didn't want to do it for whatever reason, and they backed out at the last minute, just let us know. So yes, they're not going to just give up the bond, but we're going to have to go to court. Whatever money we get from that, we'll probably end up taking and giving it back to the state for reimbursement because they're going to ask for reimbursement.
Mr. Mayor, you saying this is a bond? This wasn't a grant?
The bond that I was referring to was the bond that the landscaping company put up when they made the bid. When you make a bid, you have to have a bond to guarantee your work or guarantee that you signed the contract. That bond was $50,000 that they put up. They didn't do the work, they didn't honor the contract, so therefore they're in default.
So how is that litigation for us?
Unless you know something I don't know, they're not going to just give you back the $50,000. We're going to have to go, they're trying to fight it now as we speak. So we're going to have to go into litigation, more than likely. We're trying to do it one way, but to no avail, so we'll probably have to end up going to litigation, which will cost us money to do that, to get the bond that they put up. It's not as if they've, you would think that they defaulted and they would give us the money, but that's not what I'm saying.
So the $85,000 that's left out of the Osland grant, we may have to pay that back.
Whatever money we use out of the Osland.
Okay, plus we have to pay, might have to pay that back, plus additional litigation fee for trying to get the...
The litigation is borne by the village. So that's whatever the litigation is not part of the grant. It's just, that's what we have to pay our lawyers to go and litigate for us on our behalf. So that's not part of the grant.
Okay, so we're not just gonna let that go?
No. I mean, because we are gonna have to end up, since the project was not done, then they want their money back that they gave or fronted the village to get things started. We had engineering costs and other costs that we had to take care of. So that money that we use, we have some money left, but not enough. So we're going to have to pay that back simply because the project did not take place. Is that in your report? Thank you.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I'm just going to interject. Is there any way we can plead our case with them that pre-work that we've done, the engineering work, et cetera, makes this a shovel-ready project should we get funding? So I would argue that engineering work was not wasted money. It puts us in a position, should there be another grant available, being ready to go with, on the ground running when that money becomes available. So I would argue I don't want to pay it back if we don't have to, because it's money we don't have since we've spent it.
Well, very good question. Is it a shovel-ready project? Yes, it is. We have everything in place. But however, IDNR says Osland grant. We've been in contact with them, and they say that since you didn't have the project, we want the money that we fronted you so far, we want it to be reimbursed back. The landscapers are claiming that whatever, so they don't really want to give it up, so yes, that's why we're going back and forth in the litigation. Can we talk to the people that control the Osland and ask them? We've done that. I've had them on the phone. We've had our engineers talk to them. We had numerous people talk to them, and they're basically saying no. So if we do go with a shovel-ready, it's going to have to be another avenue. However, I just want to reiterate, once this is given back, it's going to take, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mohan, it's going to take 3 to 4 cycles before we can even apply for this type of grant again, because we defaulted on it. And it's not our fault, but it was defaulted because the landscaper that we chose defaulted. But so those are some of the reasons why we will interject that and let them know that it's going to cost us in the long run for a few years down the road to get another Osland grant.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment? You said that the vendor, we have to have litigation for the vendor, but in the, I guess the guidelines for the bond, since they default, you mean to say we have to go and fight them for the money? Since there's no provisions in the regulations that say since they defaulted, you know.
Just like anything else. I mean, yes, it's cut and dry that they said they can't do it. However, they feel something different. So
were we stopping them from doing anything?
How can we stop them from doing it?
I'm asking,
No,
were we
didn't.
doing anything to stop them?
They called us and told us they couldn't do the work,
So they defaulted.
so. That's it. Thank you. Treasurer's report, Ms. Suffolk.
Yeah, it was completed, and I mailed it to each one of the trustees last week. For municipalities having a fiscal year end that begins May 1st, the treasurer's report for the preceding year must be filed with the village clerk by the end of October. The report was actually completed and filed almost 3.5 months ahead of the deadline. And this week, the clerk also published the report in the newspaper. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Report.
Question, Mr. Mayor. In response to the question that trustee had on operational transfers, there was supposed to be some research about what does operational transfers mean to us. In your response to us, you indicated that it's something that we all knew, that according to the attorneys, that according to Illinois State Statute 65 ILCS 5/8-3-1, that you had to pay this money back within the fiscal year, which we already knew. However, the response that you sent to us did not have a letter here from the attorneys. This is, I guess, what they were telling you and you were telling us. But we had asked for something from the attorneys in writing to address operational transfers, which we never got. And also, even though other municipalities are doing this, transferring money, not paying back, doesn't mean it's right. We have been doing it for the last 7 years, as you say, and we know it's not right. It's not only us, it's the other administrations too. So what we're trying to do is get away from, that and follow the Illinois State statute. But I'm not finished. And also in the response that you sent us, you indicated that the money was not paid back ever since the finance director was here. Now, in defense of Mohan can only do what the board of trustees and the mayor tells him to do. So it's, I think it's very, what's the word, unusual to say that the money hasn't been transferred just because we got here, but we've been doing it all the time. And we spent time and money to talk to the attorney for something we already knew. I'm just saying that just because it's being done, don't mean it's right. And we have known that for the last 10 years, especially since we haven't paid police and fire pension back, since that time. So I'm just saying that these are things that we already knew.
Can I just interrupt just for 1 minute? There's two types of transfers, and I think that I just want to make sure that you're clear on that. One is operational transfers, and that goes through the profit and loss statement. That's revenue to one and expense to another fund. Those are operational transfers. There's also advances between funds, which are also where you transfer cash with the requirement to repay. The operational transfers are where you transfer cash without a requirement to repay. So those are two different types of transfers, and all municipalities participate in both. So the ones that we were talking about were the operational transfers that you do not have to pay back. Other municipalities do it. That's where I told you that what the attorneys said was that there is nothing in the statutes that prohibits it, and there's nothing in the statutes that specifically permits it, but it is a practice that all municipalities take advantage of. So there's nothing that prohibits operational transfers. The one that you have to pay back are the advances. Those we have been doing for I don't know how long, and those are the ones we do have to either pay back or we have to adopt, a resolution with the trustees that will wipe it out. We are not doing those any longer.
Okay. That's the same thing what you told us in the
That's exactly what I said, yes.
Right, and I'm re-emphasizing the point that we already knew that. There are some funds we don't have to pay back, but I think the specific issue that we're talking about was the water fund, when you take money out of the water fund, you have to pay it back sooner or later. That's Illinois state statute.
Not if it's an operational transfer. If it's an operational transfer, that by definition, you do not have to pay back. And the accounting profession also has literature that supports it, which I also passed out to all the trustees, that show you how to account for an operational transfer versus an advance. And that's what I clarified with you.
Okay, and because it's still operational transfers versus advances, it does not matter. Water fund has to be paid back. The police pension has to be paid back. It is
No money is taken from any pension fund.
Not only that, none of this information came from the attorney. This is your version of what they told you. We asked for a copy from the attorney, something saying that these things haven't been paid back. I looked under the Illinois state statute. It does not, the information they sent us did not even mention the name operational transfers. I don't know where that phrase came from. So my thing is that we as a board, the mayor and the trustees must follow Illinois state statutes. And it says that we have to pay the money back within the fiscal year. You know, for this, to get this is stuff we already knew. We wasted money talking to the attorney. Okay, when you borrow money from the water fund and we know it hasn't been paid back in 7 years, we need to start paying that money back. The water fund was supposed to be used for the repair, replacement, and the upgrades for the current water system. That has never been done.
That's,
you know.
Trustee, I don't know where the information is coming from, but also a lot of repairs and overtime comes out of the water fund also.
I didn't say that, Mr. Mayor.
But you said,
Mr. Mayor, point of order, you interrupted my, I'm trying
to keep you from not going and making false statements. That's what I'm trying.
Mr. Mayor, you have to try, what I say up here is what I intend to say.
No, but you're making a false statement. You're making a false statement.
Mr. Mayor,
what does that mean?
interrupting my conversation.
I'm stopping you from making a false statement.
You can't stop me from talking.
I'm not stopping you from talking.
Well, you're interrupting me. I have a point that I'm trying to make.
All I'm trying to do.
Mr. Mayor, you're interrupting my conversation. I'm trying to make a point.
And what does that mean? Since I'm just asking,
you're interrupting my conversation.
What does that mean?
Mr. Mayor,
because you're making a false statement. You saying that all water money has to be paid back, and that's not true.
Mr. Mayor, you're
what does that
interrupting my
mean?
conversation.
What is that? But you're making a false statement.
We do this all night long. Mr. Mayor, I'm a trustee.
Hey, okay,
I can say stuff, and I'm talking about this particular stuff.
Please talk about something that you know.
You
don't know. That's wrong.
Mr. Mayor, you can't control what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead and grandstand. Go ahead and grandstand, trustee. Go ahead. Go ahead. You do it anyway. Go ahead and grandstand.
Okay.
Go ahead and grandstand. I'm trying to put you on the proper path, trustee.
You have to put me on the proper path.
Okay.
I've done 6 or 7 years on the path. The only path that's going to be. I don't think I'm going to turn around and make any fork in the road. But anyway, nevertheless, Treasurer Sutherland, excuse me, but to address this issue, we should have got something from the attorney. The text that you sent us didn't have anything related to operational transfer. The phrase was not even used. We know that every time you borrow money from the water fund or any enterprise zone, you have to pay the money back. These are things that we know. You know, so the mayor wants to interrupt me, but I got constitutional right to say what I got to say. And the reason I come out and talk to you in the back, because I knew it was going to take me more than 10 minutes. Okay? So,
can I just say one other thing? As far as I know, and as long as I've been here at the village, we have never taken money out of the police or the fire pension fund. That is strictly prohibited, and I want to make sure that we're very, very clear on that. What the mayor was alluding to earlier is that no one had contributed money to those pension funds for a very long time. And we started contributing as per, our requirement. We started contributing under this regime this past fiscal year, and we are hoping to continue on that path. But as far as I know, and when I've been here, no money has ever been taken out of the pension funds.
Okay, I didn't, if I'm sorry if I said pension fund, I meant the water fund.
I was trying to correct
$781,000
I was trying to correct
from the water fund that should have been paid back. Excuse me? I heard you talking up there. Well, don't you want to say something? Oh, anyway. Trustee.
That's so ignorant.
Well, then you need to get up and leave then. If
I
you
didn't
feel
say
that's
nothing to you,
if you
trustee.
feel that's ignorant, you need to
Trustee,
get
I
up
didn't
and
say
leave.
nothing to you.
Somebody just came up here and said how he's gonna respect each other. I've been calm, everything since I talked. We have taken money out of the water fund for the last 7 years. Nobody has even attempted to pay it back. And not only our administration, the administration before us have taken money out of administration. And like I said before, the memo, the response that you sent us had nothing to do with operational transfer. The word operational transfer was not even mentioned in the text that you sent us. So how are we supposed to know the difference between operational transfer when we asked you about that and we're supposed to get something from the attorney, which we didn't get? Now I guess you can interject.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Another thing is, Mr. Mayor, you were supposed to provide us with a copy of the identification for the treasurer some time ago, and I was wondering when are we going to get a copy of that?
Who's with?
The trustees.
Oh, okay.
When are we going to get a copy of it?
When are you going to get a copy of what?
The insurance identification.
The insurance identification.
Yeah.
It's not identification.
Identification. When
Okay.
are we going to get a copy of it? We have been asking that for
No, you
ever since
haven't.
Miss.
No, you have not, because you didn't even know what it was. You
When
thought
are we
it
gonna
was,
get a copy?
a bond.
When are we going to get a copy?
When I can get you one.
Okay.
Are you through now, trustee?
I'm sure
I want to move on. I want to move on to reports from departments. Are you through with interrogation for treasurer?
Unless you finish interrogating me.
Okay. Next, fine.
Unless you finish interrogating me.
Excuse me.
Unless you finish interrogating me.
I didn't interrogate you, trustee.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
I didn't interrogate you. I was trying to tell you that what you were going in the wrong direction because there has never been any borrowing of any money from any pension plan.
Mr. Mayor,
Never. We're going to move
I
on.
corrected my statement and I said money from the water fund.
Finance Administration Director, Mr. Rowell.
Correct yourself.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you
That's
should.
exactly what I'm talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about too. Yeah, tell the mayor he needs to respect people.
What's your point of order? What's the point of order?
I'd like to continue on with Director Mohan's.
Thank you.
Mayor and the board, I have no report. Thank you.
I'm serious. I didn't hear.
Mayor and the board, I have no report.
Oh, okay, because you read up on top of the mic. I didn't hear that. Okay. I didn't hear that. Okay, fire department.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Oh, you have a question for me? Okay.
Mr. Rao, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to ask you this today. On page 2 of the accounts payable for tonight to Republic Services, I happen to notice that there's, under the description for the fee under the police department, a late fee is included in that $245.52. I was just curious as to why we would have been incurring a late fee to Republic Services.
Because we didn't get the invoices on time from the police department, and we had no way of controlling the late fee. So therefore, chief approved, and we are paying for the same.
I have a question.
Trustee?
Mr. Mayor, I would like copies of all the invoices for Dr. Strutter, the lab group, Olson and Sturp, and, yeah, those are only two I want. And Miller and Cooper, I thought we had paid off them. I see we got an $18,000 payment on here for auditing. We haven't finished paying Miller and Cooper?
No.
Okay, how much more do we owe?
There will be one more final invoice for the closer.
Okay, so, Mr. Mayor, last week I requested copies of the invoices office for Dr. Strada in the lab group last time, and you said you had a large stack. However, when I went to your office, I got 27 pages of invoices, and I'm asking, and Mohan notified me that I had to come through you in order to get FOIA request that he can't forward me that information, and I want to know why, whenever I ask for something, you have to hold my information in the office. You can't send it to me email, because I do ask you to send it to me email or either put it in my box. There's no personal information on invoices or anything that relates to anybody personal. I want to know why you holding my information that I need in order to make an informed decision on different items, and why do you want me to come to your office? I'm not in for intimidation and harassment, so why you can't just put my stuff in the office and send an email?
First of all, trustee, what's the difference? Because you say FOIA. You even wrote a letter saying I'm FOIA. FOIA goes on a certain form. So what's the difference in your FOIA? Because I did get a request today from the same thing you just got through asking, so I'm trying to figure out, you asked for this earlier today. I have the request. My turnaround time is not 1 day, because now, as I stated before, there is no FOIA clerk, so everything does have to go through me. And hopefully I can get all of the information and compile it and get it together in a timely manner. That's what I'm trying to do as we speak. So I did get your request. Why you're asking about it now, the same thing over again, I have no idea, but I did have that request that you gave to me. You gave one copy to the clerk. As she stated before, she's no longer the FOIA clerk. So Oh, thank you. So I do have that information. I'm compiling it all. And the other information that I had, I needed to redact some things on there, so that is also taken care of, so I have that too. So your stack of papers is about, you're right, about this thick. And I'll give them to you. I'm not going to email, because I get all the copies in paper, so I'm not going to take it and scan it and email it. I'm not going to do that. So if you need the copies, I will get the paper copies to you. But I'm letting you know I'm not emailing anything. I'm not going to get on the computer and then scan each one of those copies and email it to you. But I will make sure that you get every copy that you need in a timely manner. I do have what you already requested. And I think you requested more than just that. It's some other things that you requested too.
Every week I would request invoices off the
okay, well, then you're going to get them.
Dr. Strada and the
You're going to get them.
Okay, and the reason I come to you there on the 4 years, because when I generally ask for them at a town hall meeting, the next day I don't get them. I'll send
the next day.
The next day or two. When I don't get them,
who returns the next day? I'm sorry, but we do more than just answer your request every day.
The next
we
day
have
or
other
two.
business to take care of doing today, so it's going to take longer than a day.
The next day or two, when I don't get the information, I'll forward it. It takes you 5 days to
Let
return.
me ask you a question, trustee. What is it? How do you want me to communicate to you to let you know it's ready?
Send me an email.
I just got them stated. I don't send email.
You can't tell me you can send an email saying your information is ready. You can't put a note in my box saying your information is ready.
You can't come up to the village hall and pick it up?
Mr. Mayor, how would I know it's ready unless you tell me it's ready?
Then you can call. My phone is
Mr. Mayor, you don't answer your call and you know you don't. Come on now.
Okay, well, that's the best way to contact.
I'm
not going to go back and forth with you. Thank you.
Yeah, please, let's go.
I don't know why it's a problem whenever I ask for something that I can't get copies of what I need. What is it about what I ask for that I can't get copies of what things I need to make an informed decision?
Here we go on with the meeting. Police Department, Allen, Sauk Reagan Fire Department. Yeah, I know, it's one of the days.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Board. Over the period from July the 5th through the 19th, Fire Department responded to 32 calls. 5 fire alarms, calls, 5 automatic aids, auto aids out of town, wires down, electrical fires, 2 vehicle fires. Along with my report, August the 7th, the night out, and I didn't put that in my report, I'm sorry I didn't send it to you. We will have the burn house again this year. Also, we're gonna have the trailer down there for the kids to go through, to get their safety pamphlets and fire safety. Also, the Fire Department Association and the Foreign Fire got together and they bought me some smoke detectors to pass out. So when the supplies run out, that'll be it. And I'm not going to give you the total how many I have. And that ends my report for fire.
Thank you.
I have a comment, please. So I was fortunate enough Friday night during the community event before it actually got underway to get a personal tour of the trailer. And I just wanted to tell you how impressed I was with the work that went into what your guys have done with that trailer. Really a nice display of how people should, not just the kids, adults need to get this too, respond and react to different situations. I was really, really impressed. So kudos to the guys.
Thank you very much, Trustee. Yeah, they put a lot of work into it. When we got that trailer, we had it re-sided, thanks to Ace Board Up, no cost to us. We had purchased all the new stickers, but you know, we had that through donations, no cost to the village, and no cost to the village for the smoke detectors. And we'll see you guys August the 7th.
Thank you. You're also doing the police chief's report, correct?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay.
All right, the period between July the 10th and the 24th, Police Department received 453 calls for service. The arrests were a total of 12. Illinois Speed Awareness Day, in accordance with the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, tomorrow, July the 25th, is the 3rd annual Illinois Speed Awareness Day. The Sauk Village Police Department will be taking a proactive approach to promote safety for motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists through enforcement and education. Please slow down not only on July the 5th, but whenever you are behind the wheel driving. With the weather changing like it is, and I'm sure people have been noticing a lot of motorcycles out there, be careful for them because they can't watch you open up your car door. National Night Out, that day is fast approaching, and this is to remind everyone we're hosting the National Night Out along with police and fire. Come out to meet your local police and fire department agencies, connect with your neighbors so we can continue to build a safer, more caring community. This is just one step in strengthening a community police partnership. This event helps build connections within the community, among neighbors, become part of the tradition that is being celebrated across the nation. Get involved. If you'd like to volunteer, or if you have any suggestions, you can feel free to call Chief Kowalski at 708-753-5151. And that ends my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Emergency Management Agency Director Al Favre.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. In conjunction with the fire department calls, we just have a few extra calls that my department assisted. We assisted Department of Justice, Major Crime Task Force Unit with a search for a case that they were working on. We assisted them in blocking off the area. Also, too, we assisted Chicago Heights Police Department with a major accident at Route 30 and Lincoln Highway which made the news. There was some life lost in that. Also, too, on July 12th, we attended our monthly SMART meeting, which was held in Stager. The weekend of August 10th to the 12th, Stager will be hosting a First Responders Appreciation event to say thank you to all first responders for the job and jobs that we do out there on a daily basis. And then also, too, on Saturday, August 11th, there will be a parade through Stager to honor all first responders. Sauk Village EMA will be in the parade to represent the village. And that concludes my report, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works Director Kevin Weller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just some updates from the last report. We had 2 leaks in town that were called in. One was at 22821 Southbrook. That was completed today. The other one at 21724 Peterson will be completed by the end of the week. Staff also had a water main break at 2147 Sauk Trail. We had a stainless steel clamp, fail underground. They normally don't do that. It's only been in the ground for about 4 or 5 years, but it failed. We also had to remove some sidewalks. Those will be replaced at a later date. Currently, our Southside shutoff list is out, and employees are out doing their job. Reminder to the residents that the job of the employee is to shut off the water when they're brought to the address. If the resident has a complaint, they need to call the village hall to make arrangements. They will not take any information at that point. They will just shut the water off. Also, we have several repairs in progress at both of our well houses. At this time, the one that was completed is the other installation of the camera system at well 3. This is for safety reasons. Grass continues at several locations. Our part-time help started a couple weeks ago, or have been all brought on as a couple weeks ago. They are currently now taking over the grass cutting work. This will release us so we can continue on the 223rd Street and Cornell main replacement. This will be started and hopefully finished before the project gets close to us. Staff also removed the rest of a tree that fell on Shirley. We've had a lot of rain lately, and a lot of the trees that are rotting right now are getting spongy, so we're losing branches during the storms. Some of the wind gusts that we had knocked down a tree, and also in the process of removing that tree, we did trim up a few of the trees in the area for the residents. Some of them were damaged by the tree that fell, and some were just low in the area. Staff is we're going through town. They'll be probably going through Thursday with the schedule that we're currently working on, and we haven't had a chance to go through for our branch pickup for storms, but they will be going through town. This is still, again, just for storm branches only. Do not put whole piles out, please. They will be left on site. The last rain event we had on 7/5, we had about 2.5 inches of rain within about 20 minutes. Our sewer system, our storm system did take the rain in, but as we went around to clean the sewer lids off, they were covered with mostly paper debris and grass trimmings. So we ask residents again, please do not throw the papers in the street, pick them up, do not cut them up. It makes more to pick up, and all the grass that you cut in the street causes overtime, which is a waste of money. Also, department has been working with all the departments, trying to assist them in all their vehicle maintenance, any repairs within the buildings. And also, we have been setting up for village events. We have been taking a lot of complaints from residents, notices from residents. Some of those notices are ongoing issues we're having, potholes, trees, and streetlights. Those will all be addressed in about a month once we get done with these 2 mandated projects we have for the street work. We will be hitting those much harder to the end of the season, so please bear with us at this time. Concrete work in town from the last couple years has been behind. We did do one of the jobs at 22609 Brookwood. This was a curb and a sidewalk job. This is part of the job. When we dig an area up, sometimes we damage driveway concrete curbs. Some of the time it's asphalt. This one happened to be a concrete driveway. The resident is okay to have asphalt put back in there, so there's a savings for us. But that is the second part of the job that we have to complete yet. We are also in the process, after discussions with the mayor, to start the replacement of hopefully our water main truck. We're looking to go from a pickup truck to a van. We're right now going out looking for some competitive pricing. It looks like at this time right now the CMS bid pricing is the best, so we'll still be looking around, and until we find something, then we'll bring that to the board and request hopefully to purchase that vehicle. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Economic Development Director, Joe Wiswati.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As reported by the mayor this evening, the village did close on the property that the village owned. This has been an ongoing due diligence period with the developer for the last year. The owner will be investing over $10 million into this project. With the addition of this development, the village will have over $37 million in economic development within this past year alone. This includes the WindPack expansion of their production line and set enterprises scheduled to be completed by the end of this fall. I'm also pleased to report that the village has negotiated with Cook County and the village of Steger for Cook County to take the lead on the proposed bicycle pathway on Sauk Trail in West 394. As many of you may be aware, the village previously rejected this plan because the village would have taken lead on the project, obligating the village funds to this project and relying on reimbursement of those funds at some point. Mayor Burgess made it very clear that the village cannot and would not pledge funds to this project or expend funds with hopes that we will someday get reimbursed. Under the new arrangement, Cook County will be taking lead and the intergovernmental project, with the intergovernmental project, and will take over the financial obligations for both Sauk Village and Steger as lead agency. This project is on track thanks to the negotiations between the village, Cook County, and the village of Steger, and this is in the queue for funding through CMAQ. The total project is $1.7 million. I'm requesting time for the discussion of 2 resolutions supporting Class 8 property tax incentives. One is for renewal and one is a new application, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Reports of trustees, standing committees, and general comments. Public Service Committee Trustee Bernice Brewer.
I have no report for public service. However, my general comments is that, Mr. Mayor, you assured us that you was going to review ordinance 14006. I was wondering, when are we going to do that? When are you going to do that?
What ordinance is that?
14006.
I know that.
Social media.
Oh, okay. I've reviewed it, so I mean, as I stated before, I will not, and then I said it before, I will not discuss personnel in open forum.
I haven't asked you to discuss.
And I have reviewed the social media.
When are you going to get back to us?
Get back to you with an answer?
Yeah.
Okay, I will get back to you at the next meeting.
Okay, and also on under new business, I asked that this item be tabled because last week we discussed this for the ADP. It was not told to us that this was on this agenda for voting. We need additional information, like according to the ADP people, they were only talking about 47 employees and we have like 75. There is no comparison given to one person does the payroll versus a company doing the payroll. We need answers like that, but yet this is on here to be voted on, but we need some additional information. And also, we don't have a representative from the union that even discuss what our legal obligation is for this particular venture that you want us to vote on. So as I understand, the person who actually does this job does other jobs in the village, like he does a front desk and he also does invoices, something to do with Mohan. But yet, we are voting on that position, and it was never said that we was gonna vote on it this particular time. So we need additional information in order to put it out there, because we don't have all the information that we need in order to make an informed decision. I don't think, unless the trustees got something I don't have, you know. So I ask that this 11B be tabled and taken off the agenda so we get additional information, and especially a union person come in and tell us what is the legal ratification for just removing that position.
That should be in your report.
And I also asked to remove 11B, to table 11B.
Well, when it gets to that point, you can make that motion if you like. Is there anything else for your report?
No.
Budget and Finance, Trustee Roger Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last week, the Budget and Finance Committee did meet. We went over 2 policies that I would like to present to the board. at the next committee meeting. So Madam Clerk, if you can add that for the next Tuesday meeting to go over 2 policies that I'd like to present to the board. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Can I just mention that we won't have a committee meeting until what, 17th?
No, it'll be the 7th.
That's National Nights Out.
You're going to have to discuss that when we get towards the end. Anything else?
That's it.
Intergovernmental Housing Trustee Cecil Tate. Okay. Orders Review Committee Trustee Linda Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report right now. I'm trying to schedule a meeting in August so I can go over our false alarm ordinance. And now I just have a comment. Yesterday I came into the village hall and I'm unable to use the copy machine. It's telling me I exceeded my limit. I've not even used the copy machine. Now it tells me to see administration. Who am I supposed to see about releasing it? I mean, who do I need to go to?
What happened, Trustee, was we called, it was a Proven, which is the company, had an error. We had to reset the computer or the copy machine from their office. They had to send out I guess, to the modem that we have here or whatever, but it was their fault. It was on their end. It was nothing to do with us.
All right, but so that happened yesterday?
Yes, it did. So it's back on. I was only aware that one person had a problem with it. I wasn't aware that more than one person, but we called and talked to Proven. They, on the phone, was able to send a signal, I guess, through the modem that we have that's hooked up for them and reconfigure and redo it. So it is working. It wasn't, I guess that must have been their error message that they were sending you exceed your copies, but that's not what the case was.
Well, in the future, if that was to happen though, and say I
That's
did
the first time it ever happened. Now, we will.
Right. Who would I go to?
You can go to anyone. I mean, if you let someone know, like Trustee Brewer did, and I told her, I would check on it, and we did. But from now on, if it happens, let someone know. We can make a phone call.
Did you call me and let me know that was done?
And I just have one other thing. I see under our standing committee and that we have standing committee, and I see one of them is the community outreach.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Parks and Recs?
That's what that is combined.
Okay, then we need to, because we have an ordinance in place with our standing committees, and this is not one of them, so you may want to do an amendment.
Okay. And I'll get that amendment to your committee so we can make an amendment, but I combine them both because I wanted to combine that and make it outreach so it can be for Parks and Recs and also hopefully the police department and things to that nature. So.
Okay, only because I wanted you to know we have an ordinance on the book for this and we don't have this committee, so you're going to probably want to do an amendment.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Beth Zupan.
All right, first I want to remind everybody that our next committee meeting will be next Wednesday at 6 o'clock right here in the Rotunda. And just to add on to what the chief said, from both a fire and police perspective, National Night Out is Tuesday. That is 2 weeks from tonight. So not only do we not have a meeting next Tuesday because it's the 5th Tuesday, but the following Tuesday is the first Tuesday in August, and that's when National Night Out is. So back here from 6 to 8, we not only will have the fire, the truck, the house, the controlled burn, the trailer. Falco will be there. We will have several village businesses there. We will have some freebies. We will also be doing some walking tacos and water that we're going to be selling, and the proceeds will go towards Shop with a Cop for later this fall with the kids. So we're hoping that everybody will come out for that. That's the public safety update. If I can shift over to comments, I haven't mentioned it in a while, but I've been collecting plastic bags. My husband calls me the bag lady now because I've got bags everywhere. And also the plastic caps at the library. If you go into the library, you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's a box for the bags, there's a box for the caps. So there are two different programs that I'm trying to collect The bags are actually the better program, because if I can manage to get 500 pounds of bags, plastic bags, we can get a completely free park bench. Versus with the caps, even though I have to collect lots and lots of pounds of caps, we still have to pay money in order to get a bench or a picnic table. Plus I have to take and deliver all those caps to them and bring the bench or table back. So if anybody is interested, I can let you know from newspapers, your grocery bags, the plastic bags, those kinds of things, that you can drop them off at the library. And I go over there and pick them up as they start to get overrun with them. Changing gears, I know we didn't mention it, but I'm sure the village clerk wouldn't mind me saying that, you know, now that we're into the latter part of July, you know, it'd be great just to remind people, if you haven't gotten your village stickers, you've missed your opportunity to get them at the regular face value. And, you know, beware that, you know, rumor has it that the police department might actually be out there doing stings at some point, checking and issuing tickets for people without village stickers. Lastly, Trustee Brewer, I do have a question for you. Would you please provide me a copy of the state statute that you keep referring to, where you're insisting that we have to pay the water fund back for the money that has been transferred out of it, please?
Yes.
Thank you. And that concludes my comments and report.
Thank you. Community Outreach, Trustee Ronald Carter III.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're looking towards another seminar on August the 16th from 4 to 6. And we're hoping this time that people will come out. We need the help and assistance of everybody to make sure that we bring our children out to let them know that we're trying to help them develop to be constructive and productive adults. And how do we do that? We pass on knowledgeable information that can assist them. We assist them with whatever problems they have that we can help them with. And that's a multiplicity of things, talking about getting a driver's license, talking about getting a job, talking about after-school functions. So it's a valuable program. You just need to come out. And we're talking about August the 16th from 4 to 6, and it's a Thursday. This will be our second attempt. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And also, we're going to be getting in touch, putting it out there for the corner dog roast date to be determined. That'll be something that'll be up and coming soon, too. Reports of committees and commissions, Senior Advisory Council, Mr. Emmett Farmer. Is that mic on, sir?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Mayor, trustees. Our next meeting for the Senior Advisory Committee is this Thursday, August 9th, and all are welcome. We also have finalized our trip for the seniors to the Four Winds Casino on July 28th, but we are taking add-ons at least until tomorrow or Thursday. The cost again is $35. Please encourage all your seniors to join us, and be sure to bring their identification to receive their $25 credit. And if you want to become an add-on, Carol Coleman, she's our treasurer. Raise your hand or stand up. And Kathy Belcher, you can see one of those ladies, and they can actually get you signed up for the Four Winds trip. Also, we have the Council on Health Fair for July 26th for this Thursday, and we will be rescheduling one for another date. Also, the seniors will be and have been starting a senior walk, and they're walking every morning now. 5 days a week in the park behind the village, and the seniors have started meeting at 7 o'clock. 7 a.m. So if you're interested in walking, come out and join our seniors and walk and get some exercise. We want everybody to stay healthy, right? And please don't forget our game night every first and third Friday. Our new time again is 6 to 10. And we're looking to eventually have what we call a bid whiz card tournament. and with prize giveaways. So that's coming soon. Please join us one of the Fridays, and please spread the word to our seniors. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. New business. I'll accept the motion to approve accounts payable and disbursements dated July 24th, 2018. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Zupan, second by trustee Grant. Any questions?
I have a couple of questions. Can you hear me back there with this? Because it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't sound well. I was looking under the credit card, and I showed that credit card was used to buy flowers from Smith's. Are you aware that there's money in the beautification committee had left money for flowers for the town?
Which,
It's on the credit cards, what's being used for the credit card. First page here.
yeah, I'm looking at where you see flowers.
Flowers administration
Oh,
for
okay,
Smith's
my
Farm,
bad.
so normally if it's Smith's
94
Farm,
hours, yeah.
it would be
No,
flowers.
I didn't know there was any money left in the,
I had made several announcements, there's $548.
500? Okay,
yeah,
no, I wasn't
so
aware of that.
I suggested you may want to use that and not the taxpayers' money. I'm just saying. Also, phone cases. $40 for phone cases. So why are we purchasing phone cases?
Bless you. I'm just guessing that either whoever had to get a phone case replaced it, their phone case probably fell apart or needed to be replaced rather than drop the phone and break it. That's my guess.
Okay, and I just have one more thing. I think it was last meeting, a resident brought up, and then I looked into it when it comes to Dr. Strouder, and it had to do with 17 hours. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the board voted on the statement of work, 17 hours. Is that not correct?
No, the board voted on $6,000 a month. And if we tried to make sure that it stayed under that, and I didn't see anything, that's what I was looking at. It voted on the amount, $6,000 per month, not to exceed $6,000 per month. So if you divide it, I think it comes to something like 17.4 or something like that.
Okay, because I was looking at the hours, 17 hours.
I didn't see that. I did see the $6,000. So I mean, I'll more than the last.
I'll show you what I have.
Okay.
And that was my question, because they brought up 17 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, and I actually asked Dr. Strouder about that. I'm sorry. Is it okay if I speak, Mayor?
Sure.
I actually asked Dr. Strouder about that because I kept doing the math, and it's like 17 hours and 27 minutes. I'm like, how are you coming up with that? And she said she wasn't doing it as the time, she was doing it to back in from the dollars. I was actually going to ask, though, instead of doing weekly invoices, could we ask her to just bill us monthly, please? Wouldn't that save a little bit, you know, of having to process a check every week and just do once a month?
Okay. No problem.
And well, you may want to look.
I mean, because it is a vendor, so I mean, but that's something Mohan decided to do it that way. So, but I have that. Most vendors get paid once a month anyway, but that was something that Mohan wanted to do. So.
Well, what you want to do is look at that statement of work, because it states in there she wants to be paid bi-monthly, every 2 weeks. So you're going to want to look at that.
Yeah, so if we could check that.
Okay. All right. No, it's not weekly, I don't think.
Yes,
I don't think.
yes.
Is it weekly? Okay. Oh, you mean the payment or the
What we're paying
what do you call it, invoice, or is it the invoice is weekly, yeah, but the payment I don't think is weekly. I think the payment is every 2 weeks.
So, for example, 7/11, 7/18.
Right, but that's in other words, you want her to combine the invoices, is that what you're saying?
Personally, I'd like her to just bill us once a month.
Yeah, but like, as trustee said, if it says on there bi-weekly on the...
Okay, so can't you go back and have a conversation with her and ask her if we can amend it?
I can bring it back before the board if that's what you want.
I personally, yes.
No problem. Okay.
And I agree.
I have a question. Mr. Mayor, on the last accounts payable, Dr. Strada was had I think 2 payments on there. And then we got a memo from Mohan, which indicated she forgot to put in the rest of her invoices. So my question is it everything that we owe her on this accounts payable? We're not gonna get immediate checks, you know, like a memo from Mohan tomorrow? Is everything in here for this pay period?
Okay, what happened with that was Mohan didn't check his email in time. And he even said that before he printed the accounts payable, but he got the emails that he got was at 11 o'clock that morning. He didn't look at it until after 3. So he didn't put it on there, and that's what happened. That's how that happened. So, but the invoices, as you can see, are paid up to date, I think. I'm not sure about, not this week. Then again, no, it's not this week. So it's up to last week.
She has an invoice on the agent report that he sent us, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't see. Okay, but let's vote on. We're voting on this particular accounts payable.
I understand we're
Okay,
voting
well
on
we
this
still
particular
have a motion on the floor to accept this accounts payable.
But my question is, how come we can't pay her what's on the agent report for this account?
The question on the floor is about this accounts payable. We're not talking about what we can do after. We have a motion on the floor in a second. There's a question in regards to this accounts payable. Now,
So everything that Dr. Strader has done for this period in here is on this accounts payable?
No, I said no.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
But what's that have to do with the motion that's on the floor?
That's fine.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
No.
Trustee Carter?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Motion is carried. Motion to approve a contractual agreement with automatic data processing, ADP, to provide payroll and tax services. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, the motion was lost for a lack of second. On August 6th, that's Monday before next, that's not next Monday, it's Monday after next. We need to have a committee meeting. There's some pertinent issues that we need to bring up, and they can't wait until, because we have to discuss it. It's due with Class 8, and it's something that we have to get in before the end of the month, because the Class 8 classifications are going to change in September. So I'm asking the board, is 6:30 or 7 o'clock availability that Monday, August 6th, here at the Village Hall? I'll talk with Trustee Grant. 6:30 or 7, better for you?
7.
7. Trustee Zupan.
No preference.
Trustee Carter. Trustee Tate. Trustee Brewer.
7 is fine.
Trustee.
No preference.
Okay. I got 2 no preference. We'll go with 7 o'clock. So we will have because there won't be a committee meeting on the 2nd, on Tuesday, because it'll be National Nights Out. So we'll have a committee meeting here. Mark your calendars. If you have anything else that you want to bring or put into that that meeting, please let us know. You have a week to do so.
Can we add the ADP conversation to it?
Yes, since it was voted, it wasn't voted on at all, we can add that, revisit that, and put that on there too. Okay, I don't know what other stuff, but I mean, you know, if anybody has anything, that they're not clear with, and I'll say it again, if anyone has anything they're not clear with ADP, please inform me ahead of time so I can get the information gathered for that meeting on the 6th of August. So if you have any questions, anything that you're not clear about, please get it to me by then so we can go over it and find out what it is that it may not be clear. I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
So,
It was moved by Trustee Brewer, second by Trustee Todd. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.